give me 3 minutes of your time and I will liberate you from mental slavery and religious slavery. You know, it does not require much intelligence for you to see the truth. It only requires this much of logic and rationality. Whose faith is more complete? One who believes in God and believes in all the prophets and messengers that God has sent, and believes in all the divine revelations and divine scriptures and divine books that God Almighty has revealed to mankind, or one who only believes in one book, one divine book, and one prophet, yet he disbelieves in the rest of the divine revelations and scriptures and books that came from God, and disbelieves in all the prophets who came from God. Whose faith is more complete? Imagine 3 people dying, and then on Judgment Day, they are brought forward to be judged by God. And God Almighty asks the first person, what did you believe in? And he was a Jew. And then he replies, God, I only believed in the Torah and I only believed in Moses, but I disbelieved in Jesus. I disbelieved in the Prophet Muhammad. I disbelieved in the gospel. I disbelieved in the Holy Quran. And then God asked the second person, who happens to be a Christian, what did you believe in? And he said, God, I believed in Jesus and I believed in the gospel and I disbelieved in Muhammad and I disbelieved in the Holy Quran. And then God Almighty asked the third person, who happens to be a Muslim, what did you believe in? And then the Muslim replies, God, I believed in you. I believed in every single prophet and messenger that you have sent, including Moses, including Jesus, including Prophet Muhammad, including Abraham, and all the other prophets who came before him and after him. And I believed in the Holy Quran, but not only this, I also believed in the gospel of Jesus, the original gospel of Jesus that you have sent down upon Jesus for mankind. I believed in the Torah and the 10 Commandments that you have given Moses. I believed in the scriptures that you have given to Abraham. I believed in the Zabur, the book that you gave to David, and all the other divine revelations that you have sent to mankind. Whose faith is more complete? One who believes in all the prophets and messengers and all the divine revelations from God, like Muslims, or one who only believes in Jesus and the gospel or the Bible, the man-written book, or one who believes in one tribe, the tribe of Israel, and one prophet, Moses, and one divine book, the Torah, yet disbelieves in the rest. Again, it does not require much intelligence to see the truth. It only requires a tiny bit of rationality and logic. The Prophet Muhammad said that the prophets of God, all the prophets of God are like half brothers. They all came from different mothers, yet they have the same religion. God Almighty confirmed this in the Holy Quran as well. The Prophet Muhammad gave a parable, an example of the prophets and the religion of God. He said that they are like a man who laid the foundation to a house, a structure, and decided to build a beautiful home, but he died before completing the structure. Then his descendant or his son decided to complete the structure that his father, his ancestor, has laid the foundation to. So he started completing the structure as beautiful as the one that his ancestor decided to build. Yet he also died before completing the structure. Then came another son, or the grandson, or the descendant, and decided to complete the structure. And this is exactly the prophets. You know, one prophet came and he laid the foundation to the religion of God, which is called Islam. It wasn't called Christianity. It wasn't called Judaism. We're talking about thousands of years, starting with the first prophet of God, Adam, and then ending with the Prophet Muhammad, the final messenger of God. So the first prophet of God laid the foundation to Islam, and then he died, and then the next prophet continued his message, continued building and completing the structure until the final messenger of God finally arrived, and he completed the beautiful structure of Islam, the beautiful religion of Islam, the religion of God. Again, before you flip because the word Islam, before you feel the sense of Islamophobia, Islam means to surrender your will to the will of God. So when we compare Christianity a man-made religion that was formulated, established 400 years after the death of Jesus himself. And if we talk about Judaism, a religion that emerged in the 4th century, centuries after the death of Moses, it's called Hellenistic Judaism. Moses lived between the 15th century and the 12th century BC, not AD. Yet Judaism emerged only in the 4th century. This is 1,500 or 1,300 years after the death of Moses. Yet when we are talking about Islam, we are talking about the religion of God that God Almighty has revealed to all of his prophets, and all of his prophets came to preach, which means the surrender. Islam means the surrender, meaning to surrender your will to the will of God, worship him alone, to be a true believer, to be an upright monotheist, and to abandon the worship of false gods and idols. This is what Islam means. It received its name from God Almighty. It received its name from the true meaning of how to be a true believer, by surrendering your will and submitting to the will of God and worship him alone, willingly and peacefully. It has to come from you. No one can force you to become a believer. So again, whose faith is more complete? Only you can decide. No one can decide for you.